Have you ever climbed a mountain, only to realize you were on the wrong peak? My name is Noni, and today I want to tell you a story that might take a while to hear, but it will save you a lifetime of regret. This is the story of a man who had everything the world tells us to want, and why he threw it all away to find a single moment of peace. Imagine a man named Julian. It is 2 a.m. in a glass office overlooking a city that never sleeps. Julian is 45 years old. His suits cost more than most people's cars. His name is etched in gold on the lobby wall. But as he stands there, looking at his reflection in the dark window, he doesn't see a success. He sees a ghost. His heart is racing, not with excitement, but with a cold, numbing dread. His phone is buzzing on the mahogany desk. Another deal. Another million. Another person wanting a piece of his time. But Julian can't breathe. For 20 years, Julian had been an architect. He built skyscrapers that touched the clouds. He was told that more was the answer to every question. More money meant more freedom. More fame meant more respect. More power meant more safety. But as he stood in that silent office, he realized the terrifying truth: he had built a prison of his own design. The higher he built, the further he moved away from the ground. The more he earned, the more he owed to people he didn't even like. He looked at a photo on his desk. It was his daughter's graduation. He wasn't in the photo. He was in Dubai that day, closing a contract. He looked at his hands. They were shaking. That night, Julian didn't go home. He didn't answer the phone. He walked out of that glass tower, left his keys in the door, and started driving. He drove until the city lights faded into the rearview mirror. He drove until the concrete turned into gravel, and the gravel turned into dirt. He drove until the silence of the forest was louder than the engine of his car. He reached a place called the Valley of Stones. A place where time didn't matter. A place where no one knew his name. Julian arrived at the gates of a small, ancient monastery. He had no luggage, just the expensive suit on his back, now stained with sweat and dust. An old monk met him at the gate. The monk didn't ask for his resume. He didn't ask about his net worth. He simply pointed to a wooden sign hanging by the door. It said, "Leave your words outside. They are too heavy to carry in here." For the first 7 days, Julian thought he would go insane. Have you ever tried to be truly silent? Not just not talking, but silent in your mind? When you stop the noise of the world, the noise inside your head gets louder. Julian heard every mistake he ever made. He heard every lie he told himself. He heard the echoes of the people he had hurt in his climb to the top. On the 10th day, the old monk gave Julian a task. "Build a wall," the monk said. Julian smiled for the first time. "I am an architect," he thought. "I build towers. A stone wall is child's play." But when Julian started, he failed. He tried to measure the stones with his fingers. He tried to calculate the angles. He tried to rush. And every time he reached the 3rd layer, the wall collapsed. The monk watched him and whispered, "You are building with your ego, Julian. You are trying to force the stones to be what you want them to be. You must listen to what the stone is. Think about your life right now. Are you trying to force your life to fit a shape that wasn't meant for you? Are you trying to build a wall out of stones that don't fit, just because you want the world to see a finished product?" Julian spent the next 3 months on that one wall. He stopped wearing his watch. He stopped looking for a mirror. His hands became calloused and rough. His expensive suit was replaced by a simple gray robe. And something strange happened. As the wall grew slowly, stone by stone, hour by hour, the noise in his head began to die down. The ghost he saw in the glass office started to gain color. He wasn't Julian the architect anymore. He was just Julian. A man, breathing, existing. After 6 months in the Valley of Stones, the wall was finished. It wasn't the tallest structure Julian had ever built, but it was the strongest. One morning, the old monk walked up to Julian. He didn't say, "Good job." He didn't give him a trophy. He simply handed Julian his car keys and his phone. The phone was dead, its screen dark and cold. "The world hasn't stopped moving," the monk said. "But you have. Now, go back. Not to be the man you were, but to be the man you found." Julian drove back into the city at sunset. The skyscrapers he once designed looked different now. They looked like giant needles, stitching together a sky that no one was looking at because they were too busy looking at their feet. He went to his old office. His name was still on the gold plaque, but he didn't feel a spark of pride. He felt nothing. He walked into the boardroom where he had spent thousands of hours fighting for more. He looked at the men and women sitting there, gray-faced, tired, drinking bitter coffee, and checking their watches every 30 seconds. They looked at him like he was a ghost. "Julian, you're back. We have 3 contracts waiting. We can double the firm's value by next year." Julian looked at the blueprints on the table. They were for a new luxury complex that would require tearing down an old community park. He picked up a pen. But he didn't sign. He drew a single line through the entire project. "I'm not building cages anymore," he said quietly. "From now on, I only build cathedrals of the soul." Julian sold his share of the company. He sold the mansion that felt like an empty museum. He bought a small plot of land near the city's poorest neighborhood. He didn't build a tower. He built a community center. He built it with the same stones he learned to handle in the valley. He spent his days teaching young people how to use their hands, how to breathe, and how to find a purpose that wasn't tied to a paycheck. But the hardest part of his return wasn't the work. It was the photo on his desk. He went to his daughter's house. He didn't call first. He just stood on the porch. When she opened the door, she didn't see Julian the architect. She saw a father whose eyes were finally clear. He didn't offer her money. He didn't offer her a fancy car. He simply said, "I'm sorry I was away for so long. I was lost in a forest of glass. But I've found my way home." As we sit here together at the end of this journey, I want you to look at your own life. Are you building a skyscraper for a world that doesn't care about you? Or are you building a soul that can weather any storm? We are all architects. Every choice you make is a brick. Every thought you have is a blueprint. You don't need to wait for a collapse to change your design. You can put the glass of regret down right now. You can walk out of your glass tower today. The most beautiful thing you will ever build is not made of steel or concrete. It is made of the moments you are fully present. It is made of the love you give when you aren't looking at your watch. If you are listening to this, and you feel like you are standing in that dark office at 2 a.m., know that there is a valley of stones waiting for you. There is a version of you that is peaceful, strong, and silent. Don't wait until you're 70 to start living. Build your cathedral now. My name is Noni. Thank you for walking this long road with me today. If this story found you at the right time, type, "I am building my soul," in the comments. It's a small signal to the world that you are finally awake. Until next time, keep your heart open and your blueprint clear.